Most homeowners start the renewable energy conversation with one question: what's the best option? Solar, wind, battery storage, biomass. At first, it sounds like a simple comparison. Pick the most efficient technology, install it, lower dependency, problem solved. But that assumption creates unrealistic expectations very quickly, because renewable energy systems don't compete in the way most people imagine. They behave differently. And once homeowners understand that, the conversation becomes less about choosing the best option and more about understanding fit. That shift changes everything. Most people approach renewable energy expecting one system to solve every problem: lower costs, backup power, reliability, independence, sustainability. But energy systems rarely optimize all of those goals at the same time, and that's where the comparison becomes more interesting. Take solar energy. It's often the first system homeowners explore. The appeal is obvious. Energy arrives continuously during available sunlight. The system feels passive. Minimal moving parts. Long-term generation. But solar introduces timing constraints. Production happens when conditions allow, not necessarily when demand appears. So homeowners quickly discover that generation and availability aren't identical. That realization leads directly to storage. And storage introduces another layer of decisions: capacity, reserve planning, usage patterns. Suddenly the system becomes larger than the panels themselves. Now compare that to wind. Wind creates a different relationship with energy. Production isn't tied to daylight, but it introduces another variable: consistency. Output depends on environmental conditions that may shift constantly. Some locations experience stable production, others don't. So reliability becomes local, not universal, and that changes expectations. Then there are biomass-based approaches. Unlike systems that generate energy directly from environmental conditions, biomass stores energy through biological processes and releases it through conversion. That creates flexibility, but also introduces process management, material availability, transformation, system conditions. So instead of weather dependency alone, you introduce operational dependency, and that changes how homeowners interact with the system. Battery systems create yet another layer. Batteries don't generate energy, they reorganize availability, and that distinction becomes important, because many homeowners initially see storage as energy creation, but storage solves timing problems, not production problems. That hidden distinction changes decisions more than people expect, because now homeowners stop asking, "How much energy can I produce?" and begin asking, "When will I need access to it?" That's a completely different conversation. As people compare options, another realization appears. Most successful home setups aren't built around a single system. They're layered. Generation, storage, backup, flexibility. Not because individual technologies fail, but because daily energy demand changes, weather changes, life changes, and renewable systems behave differently under those conditions. That's why comparisons often become misleading, because performance depends on goals. Someone focused on reducing grid use may prioritize differently than someone focused on resilience. Someone optimizing long-term stability may think differently than someone focused on backup. And that leads to the key turning point. The real issue isn't which renewable energy option is superior. It's understanding which limitations fit your situation best. Every system introduces trade-offs. Solar depends on timing. Wind depends on conditions. Biomass depends on conversion. Storage depends on capacity. And understanding those behaviors matters more than comparing features. Because homeowners aren't choosing technologies. They're choosing relationships with energy. How much control they want. How much variability they accept. How actively they want to manage the system. Once that becomes clear, renewable energy comparisons become less overwhelming, and much more practical. If you want to explore how homeowners evaluate renewable energy setups and compare different combinations in real-world situations, there's a structured breakdown in the description. You can also find a practical guide and step-by-step framework that explains how these systems are commonly evaluated. And as always, the goal isn't to identify one perfect solution. It's to understand the differences clearly enough that better decisions become possible.